Have you ever stopped to think that maybe, just maybe, the way we talk about our rights is based on a huge contradiction? Well, that's the powerful idea we're digging into today, something one source calls the American oxymoron. It's this idea of a deep inconsistency right at the very heart of American liberty. And this quote, it really gets right to the heart of the matter. Can you logically defend rights that are said to come from a creator if you don't actually believe in one? Now, the argument here isn't about faith. According to this analysis, it's about pure, cold logic. So let's look at what the source calls the American contradiction. The point being made is that this isn't some dusty academic debate. No, this is presented as a deep structural conflict, a crack in the foundation with profound real-world consequences for the entire country. And this is a really important point to get. The argument isn't calling anyone a bad person. It's not a moral thing. It's about logic. It's saying there's a political identity out there that just doesn't line up with its own rulebook. It's fundamentally inconsistent. So to really get this, we've got to go back to the blueprint, right? Back to the source code of America. This next part is all about how the idea of rights from a creator is presented as the absolute foundation, and it all boils down to just a few very specific words. The whole argument hangs on this one sentence from the Declaration of Independence, and the claim is, look, this isn't just pretty philosophical fluff. This is the operating system. This is the official statement on where our rights actually come from. And that's the key metaphor right there. It's like a load-bearing wall. Take out the creator from that sentence, and you're not just redecorating the house, you're ripping out the very thing holding the whole structure up. Suddenly, the idea of unalienable rights starts to look pretty shaky. Okay, so to build this case, the source takes a word we all think we know, integrity, and gives it a very specific twist. And it's not about being a good person. It's about something else entirely. Alignment. And you really have to get this definition to follow the rest of the logic. Right, so this is the definition we're working with. And again, it's not asking, are you a good person? It's asking a much colder, more technical question. Does your personal philosophy actually match the foundational principles of the system you say you believe in? It's all about consistency. This chart just lays it all out super clearly. You've got two kinds of rights. On one side, endowed rights. Their source, a creator. That makes them transcendent, unalienable. But on the other side, you have constructed rights. Their source, people, the government. And that makes them totally conditional, totally revocable. And here is the logical knockout punch of the argument. It's simple. If humans made something, humans can unmake it. If rights aren't handed down from some higher power, well then they can't ever really be unalienable, can they? They're just agreements. And we all know agreements can be changed or just flat out broken. So, okay, if you accept that there's a crack in the foundation, what happens next? Well, according to this argument, that crack doesn't just stay put. It spreads. And it leads to this cascade of failures that ripples through the entire society. And get this, the source lays out this master list of 10 big areas where this one single failure is supposedly showing up. We're talking everything from our jobs and the economy, to marriage, to how we even define what an adult is, all the way to liberty itself. Okay, let's take a look at just one of these, the wage economy. The argument here is pretty radical. It says that when the most basic right, the right to life, becomes something you have to buy with your labor, the whole system gets turned completely upside down. A right that was supposed to be a gift from a creator becomes a product you have to purchase from your boss. And this isn't just some abstract idea. They put numbers to it. The source claims that when you add up all the hidden costs of our current wage system, things like poverty management, welfare, incarceration, it costs the U.S. a staggering $21 to $26 trillion a year. The argument is that it would actually be cheaper to just give everyone a universal basic income. Okay, now let's look at another example they give, something super personal, marriage. The claim is that the state has stepped in and completely changed what marriage even is, turning it from this sacred promise into just another government contract. So here's how the takeover supposedly happened. You start with a sacred promise, a covenant, just between two people. Then, step 2, the state comes along, invents a license, and says, you need our permission for this. And just like that, step 3, the state now has jurisdiction over everything. Divorce, property, even the kids. It becomes a third party in your marriage. And you start to see a pattern emerge, right? Inherent rights on one side and state-sold licenses on the other.
Marriage becomes a marriage license. Being an adult requires a driver's license. The right to work needs permits. Even the pursuit of happiness requires a business license. The argument is that things we should have by nature are being sold back to us as products.
Yeah, this same logic gets applied to the very idea of becoming an adult. You know, where cultures used to have rites of passage, the state just gives you an age limit and an ID you have to buy. So the core idea is that identity itself, being a wife, a husband, an adult, is no longer something you are, it's something you buy from the government. So all of this, all these examples, they're all building up to one final really powerful conclusion. What is the ultimate fate of liberty when you cut it off from its original source? And this chart really visualizes the whole argument. It's a clear downward path. When a right is endowed by a creator, it's sacred, untouchable. But once you remove that source, it becomes a privilege, something the state can give or take away. And from there, it's just a short slide down to becoming a product, a commodity that's bought and sold. And this is the big takeaway from the source. This isn't just another political debate we can argue about forever. It's presented as something much more serious, a fatal flaw, a deep metaphysical contradiction baked into the system's code that, the argument goes, it was just never built to handle. And this quote really sums up the entire argument. When the source is denied, the structure collapses. Liberty becomes license, rights become fees, identity becomes paperwork. The claim is that the world of licenses and bureaucracy we live in isn't some random accident. It's the logical endpoint of that first single contradiction. And that leaves us right here, with the one question this entire analysis is designed to make you ask. It's a real challenge to how we think about freedom. If our rights don't come from a source beyond human control, can they ever truly be unalienable?